Okay, so in this video, we're going to start, well, I already started most of exercise 2.4, just the basic stuff like creating all the getter and setter methods, and the toString method, and the constructors and the instance variables are all written down. Um, Now I'm just going to be, oh, and by the way, I skipped over exercise 2.3 because it's too simple, and exercise 2.2 is, it's, it's just I don't know, just I forget it. In my opinion, you can do it if you want, but you're gonna have to like try to figure out stuff where I feel like information is left out here that makes it too confusing. But here we are in exercise 2.4 with the My Time class, and what we're trying to do is just make sure that we check for every case where maybe the user is going to pass extra time that's doesn't exist in reality, but anyways, we'll see. So what we're gonna do is, I guess, for the constructor, just right away, um, the user can pass a time, and it's the time, right? Like, we don't have any days or years or anything like that, so we can't work with that if maybe they're passing 25 hours, right? Then we would just convert it to be the next day and add an hour, right? But that's not how it's going to work here. Um, right off the bat, they need to pass anything below 24 hours, basically. Um, and the minutes cannot be over 60. To be honest, like, the minutes can't even be 59. Well, it can, but like it can't be 60, I guess. I think what we need to do is just work on the setter methods first and write the logic for that. So yeah, this time they're asking us to perform input validation. That's why we need to do write all this logic. You can see right below here it says required to perform input validation. So right off the bat, we know that they want the set time to check if the given hour, minute, and second are valid before setting the instance variables. Otherwise, it will throw an illegal argument exception. So we can just, that's kind of what we did up here, but um, I don't know why they didn't add that to the constructor, because that's actually like the first point where they pass the values, but we'll just write that here. So if the hour is above 24, um, then we throw a new exception, which is the illegal argument exception, which is what they want, which is right. Argument exception. And they want us to say invalid hour, minute, or second. Invalid hour, minute, or second. Um, we're gonna check for individually because, yeah. So else if, well, this is for hour, right? So that's for set time, actually. Where's the set time method? So there's no set time, but there is a set time, if you know what I'm saying. So for hour, it's for the hour. So if it's above um, 24, then we'll just do as they tell us. We could write better logic for this, but they want it to be that simple, right? Like I even wrote better logic here in the first program that I did. I made sure to check for all the um, cases that could be wrong. But anyways, So this is that. So if the hour is above 24, then we throw an illegal argument exception. Um, else this dot hour is equal to hour. And then the same thing for minute and second. So if minutes is above 60, or actually above 59, well, actually, it should be above 60, right? Um, then throw new illegal arguments exception, invalid minutes, else yeah, else this time minute is equal to minute. Fine. Same thing here. So let me just remove that because we don't need that. Then we go here. We go if the second is above 60, that's when we have an issue. So we throw a new illegal argument exception, invalid second. Move that and finish with the what do you call that? Colon, I think. Um, otherwise, we set the value and it's fine. Honestly, I think if it reaches 60, then we should add an hour. So if it's above 59 is when it should be actually. So above 59. But technically, we could write like we can add all of the logic for like if it's above 60, then we can take the 1 minute and add um, an hour to the hour, and then uh, just you know what I'm saying. I did do that in the other my time class that I created, but so if it's above 23, but I mean, but technically it should be above 24, right? It can be 24 hours. I don't know. I don't know. For now, we'll just leave it like that, right? We'll just do the rest of what they're asking. So, setters, set hour, set minute, int minutes. Why are they saying set time? There's no set time method here, right? Oh, there is. There is a set time method. My bad. Up here. So, if hour is above 24, so we're just pretty much going to do the same thing as before, except it's going to be else if conditions in here. Minutes is above 60 is fine, right? Once it hits 60, it's once it goes to 61 or anything above 60, right? Then it needs to be added to the next hour. Like we need to add one to the next hour, right? Uh, else if second is above 60. Else, okay, so uh, if it's above 24, then we throw an illegal exception, an illegal argument exception, right? Throw new illegal arguments exception. Illegal hour. Is that what they wanted? Illegal, invalid. Invalid hour. And actually, it should be if it's or uh, hour is below 0, right? Then it's an invalid hour. Um, Same thing with second, or below minutes is below 0. Throw new illegal arguments exception, invalid minute. Legal argument exception. Or second is below 0. Throw new illegal argument exception, invalid second. They want the exclamation points, so we'll just have those. I would put exclamation points. Else, then we can set those times. This thought hour is equal to an hour. This thought minute is equal to a minute. This second is equal to second. So that's fine. And here should be the same thing. Yeah, it says it has to be the same thing pretty much. Or yeah, if it's one or the other, there's an issue. Hours below 0. Minutes below 0. And second is below 0. Okay. Yeah. Invalid second, else we set the second. Okay. Next, they want the getters, so getters are fine. Two-string method is fine. And then we move to the next second. So next second, update this instance to the next second, return this instance. Take note, the next second of is right. So we need to take that into account. So we have to create the next second method. So when we set the hour, the minute, and the second, it can only be 24 hours or 60 minutes at most, which is technically turns into an hour, right? But you see, that's the issue. Like, we can't be at 24 hours and 60 minutes, right? So it should be 59. If it's above 59, then there's an issue. If it's below 0, then there's definitely an issue. So now they want the next second method. So public, what type is it? My time next second. So here they want it to be next second. Update this instance to the next second. Okay, that's fine. So this second. So we want to make sure we add the check. So if this second is let me see here, is equal to 59. So we're not taking into account the milliseconds and all that. That would be just too much, honestly. But if this second is equal to 59, then this dot, and if this dot minute is equal, so if this second is equal to 59, if this minute is equal to 59, right? If then we set, but if then we set, honestly, I wonder if like it's just best to do like if the second is equal to 59 and this minute is equal to 59 and this hour is equal to 23, then we're basically setting this hour is equal to 0, and this minute is equal to 0, and this second is equal to 0. So this we're checking if we're basically at the maximum time before we switch back to 0. If we add a second, then the minute turns into an hour, and then it turns to 24 hours, right? And if it's 24 hours, then it is 24 hours, but it's technically the next day, right? It turns to 0. I think it turns to 0 pretty much. Or no, that's only if it's 24 and then we add 1, right? No. Okay, according to Wikipedia, which is not actually a good source of information, to be fair, which is what I've learned throughout the years, but not always the most accurate and truthful source of information. But it does say that 24 hours, it's technically the same thing as 0 of the next day. So yeah, so once it turns to 24, then it's technically the next day. So we do set it to 0. Else if this second is equal to 59 and this minute is equal to 59, then this hour is added with 1 and plus 1 hour, and then this minute is set to 0. This second is set to 0. So if it's like 20, 22, right? 22 o'clock, 59 minutes in, 59 seconds in, and you add 1 second, it becomes 23 o'clock, right? Or if it's 23, 59 minutes and 58 seconds, it becomes, anyways. Else if this second is equal to 59, then this dot minute plus equals 1, this dot second plus equals, it's set to 0. Right, right. So we're just making sure to check if we reach this time, then everything's set back to 0 if we add a second. If we reach this time, it as long as it's not 23, then it's fine. We can just add an hour to the hour, set everything, the minute and second, back to 0. Else, if it's the second is equal to 59, as long as the minute isn't 59, then we can add a minute to the minute and set second back to 0, right? Then we have public. We have to return the instance, um, right? So return this. Okay, what is this? What is this? Okay, that's fine. What's the issue here? Return this. Okay. Okay. I'm clearly not reading what they're saying, but it literally even says here between 0 to 23, 0 to 59, 0 to 59. Anyways, yeah. So we have to do the same thing pretty much for the hour and a minute and everything. Probably less, maybe, but we'll see. Public my time next minute. Here we go. If this dot second is equal to 59, so it's pretty much just the same thing, honestly. And this dot minute is equal to 59, and this dot hour is equal to 3. Then this dot hour is equal to 0. This dot. So if we add a minute, right, it doesn't matter if we add a second or a minute, it'll still be the same result. So this dot minute is equal to 0, and this dot second is equal to 0. And if we come down here, we go else if this dot second is equal to 59, and this dot minute is equal to 59, then this dot hour plus 1, and this dot minute. Technically, I wonder if we can. I wonder if this works. Plus plus. We just add 1, right? I think we would do that. Yeah. So then this is equal to 0, and this dot second is equal to 0. Else if this dot second is equal to 59, then this dot minute plus plus, and this dot second is equal to 0. probably something I'm missing though, but yeah. We'll see when we test everything, with the main program. So, public my time. So we have to return this, and then here public my time next. Uh, Next hour, right? Next hour. If this dot second is equal to 59, and this dot minute is equal to 59, and this hour is equal to 23, and we add an hour to that, then that means, okay, and this dot hour is equal to 0, this dot minutes is equal to 59, this dot second is equal to 0, right? Because the one hour, we're taking 1 minute, or technically we're taking 1 second, right? We're taking 1 second, right? We're taking 1 second from the hour. We're adding that 1 second, so then 1 second becomes 59 seconds becomes an extra minute, and an extra minute from 59 minutes becomes an extra hour, and then 23 becomes 0, and we're left with the 59 other minutes. And the 59 other seconds, right? Yeah, pretty much. So then, else if this dot second is equal to 59, and this dot minute is equal to 59, then this dot and in this case it's next hour, right? So that's fine, right? Um, as long as the hour isn't 23, then I don't think there's any issue here. This doesn't matter because if it's 22, we add an hour, it becomes 23, 59, 59, right? The issue is when it becomes 23, so I don't think we need anything more than that. Same thing if it's just 59 seconds, right? Wouldn't it be the same thing for this? If we add a minute here, then it becomes, we take 1 second from the minute, add it to the second, and we add 1 second, 1 minute here, it becomes 60, so that's an hour, we add an hour to this. Okay, now, let's re-look at this again. So, if we add 1 minute to this time, this becomes an hour, this becomes 24 hours and 59 seconds. I mean, this becomes 0 hours, right? Or 24 hours, but it's actually zero. So 0, 0, and 59 seconds. So do the seconds even matter in this case? I don't think we need this part because we're adding a minute, which is turning into an hour, and we're just keeping the 59 seconds. But it does matter, right? This, the seconds, we don't need to do anything to the seconds, right? And here, if the second is 59 and the minute is 59, the second just doesn't matter at all, right? It doesn't matter, right? So we just add 1 to the hour, and we don't need to change anything for the second. I don't even think we need this one, right? So if the minute is 59, the hour is 23, we add a minute, then it becomes 24 hours or 0 the next day. And whatever seconds are left, it's just kept there, right? It doesn't really, it's kept into the next day. And if we are at 59 minutes and it's not 23, it's anything below, then we just add an hour and we set the minute back to 0. Now if we go up here for the next second, the second matters, right? If it's 23 hours, 59 seconds, and 59 minutes, then we add 1 to the second, which then makes the minute an hour, which then adds an hour here, and everything becomes 0. Right, and then if the second is 59, the minute is 59, then we just set these back to 0 and add 1 to the hour. If it's 59, we add 1 minute. And here it's just for the hour itself, right? So if this it's here, we add an hour. We don't need to change these. We just need to set the hour back to 0. And then else if it's 22, you add 1, it becomes 23. That's fine. Return this. Else if second is 59, else this second plus plus. think this should be okay. Um, and then we have they're also doing previous second and previous minute, which is annoying, but that's fine, I guess. So public my time next, it's previous and previous second. If this dot second is equal to 59 and this dot minute is equal to 59 and this hour. No, if it's equal to if this dot second is equal to 0 and this dot minute is equal to 0 and this dot hour is equal to 0, then this dot hour is equal to 23, this dot second is equal to 59, this dot minute is equal to 59. And let's just follow the same order that we do it before, so hour, minute, and then second. Um, yeah. Now, else if this dot second is equal to 0 and this dot minute is equal to 0, then yeah, so if the minute reaches 0, the second reaches 0, and whatever hour it is, if we're subtracting 1 second, then we're removing 1 from the hour. This hour um, minus 1. And then this minute is equal to 59. And this second is equal to 59. And finally, for the second, if this second is equal to 0, and we're subtracting 1, this minute is equal to is minus 1, and this second is equal to 59, right? Um, then we just return this. Return this. And then we go public my time previous minutes here if this if with space please this dot second is equal 0, and this minutes is equal to 0. And we just subtract from the hour, right? This dot hour minus, and let's do that, and then this dot minute is equal to 59. This dot second is equal to 59. There is another thing I want to look at, actually. Yeah. So if we're at 0 seconds and 0 minutes, and we remove a minute, and we need to remove an hour, and set back the minute and second, sorry. I have some, anyways. Else if this dot second is equal to 0, this matter, and remove a minute, it doesn't matter. More like if this dot minute is equal to 0. So if this dot minute is equal to 0, then we need 2, this dot hour, a minute to remove an hour. Do that, whatever. Is equal to -1. No, it's equal to this hour -1. I think that's it for the minutes. If this dot second is equal to 0 and this dot minute is equal to 0, remove 1 minute. And just, yeah. And then if this minute is equal to 0, this, okay, fine. And then here, return this. And then here, public my time, previous second. Here, if second is equal to 0, then this and we remove are we at previous second already? No, we did previous second already. We're at previous hour now. So previous hour here. So if the hour is equal to 0, and this dot minute, this dot hour is equal to 24 at 23, and this dot minutes is equal to 59, and this dot second is equal to 59. That's it. Come here, return this, and that's not it though, but if the minute is at 59, the second is at 59, we remove an hour, it doesn't matter. If the hour is at 0 and we remove an hour, then it does matter. So we're just going to try this for now. the main program. Write the code for my time class. Write my test time. So test time, test my time, test my time. Uh, public static void main string arguments. My time t1 is equal to new my time t1 and we pass hour, which will be 24. Yeah, we do. So I guess they left out the fact that we need to check the values that are passed when creating a constructor, because we do need to check values that are passed when creating a constructor. Um, that's the first place where we need to make sure that the values that are passed are the right kinds of values, right? So if it's above or below, oops, or hour is below 0, or minutes is below 0, or, and when we say below 0, it's be -1, for example, which is not valid, right? Else we just go ahead and we set the values. So yeah, the hour will be 23. Minute will be 59, and the second will be 59. That's should be totally fine. I don't know where I'm getting an error here. Int, my time. Plus my time. Is it using a different my time? Is it using this one? My time cannot be resolved to a type. It's within the same package, dummy. It's within the same package. What's the issue? Okay, so I already wrote a test main here, but is this even the right one? Test my time. Am I in the wrong? I think I'm in the wrong class here. I think this is the one we're supposed to be in. Yeah, this is the one. So, okay. This needs to be removed. That's fine. Just delete it. It's the wrong one. This is the one that we're supposed to be in. Test my time. Okay. Now there shouldn't be any issues. Public static. Whoa. Why is there two? Public static main string arguments. And here it is a new instance. T1 is equal to my time. There's no argument constructor, so yeah. Actually, This one's fine because we do want to test the time where it's at 0 for everything. And then we have my time T2 and here we want to test with the 23 and the 59 values. So here we'll just system.out.print. We do want to do something for the toString method that we use to override the string's default toString method. We do need to change something. We need to have leading zeros for single digit numbers. So, let's see here. Where is it? I wonder if an integer is an array of. No, it's not. I don't think so. Integer Java. Integer class is a wrapper class for a primitive type int which contains several methods to effectively deal with an int value, like converting it to a string representation. Vice versa, an object of the integer class can hold a single int value. Okay, so it's not like a string at all, which is kind of to be expected. But so where was it? The toString method. toString method here. So we're gonna add an if-else condition in here. So even maybe a for loop. So for every element in the um, so go ahead and create an array here. The toString method's called. This is fine. So array, it will be time is equal to type int time time equal to new int array of size 3 indexes. Is this, what's the issue here? Why am I having an issue? No, why is there an issue? Oh, it's because we didn't finish this. I was like, what's, anyways, for every element in the time array, we will uh, no, what is it that, so I want to store all the values of, okay, so yeah, we'll just do something simpler than this. We don't even need, so this dot hour is equal to time, the 0th index. This dot minute is equal to time at the first index. And this second is equal to time 0th index value at the second index, which is actually the third index, honestly. But anyways, so now what we can do is For the hour, it's the same thing, right? So if time, I don't even need to do that. I don't even need to do that. I don't even need to do any of this. If this hour is below dot length, that's only for the array though, right? That only works for an array, right? So that wouldn't work. That's why I would want to use um yeah, it doesn't work. It needs to be so we would use a for loop here for sure. For every element in every element in the this hour. So it's pretty much we're checking how many um, basically decimal values, I guess you can say. I'm not exactly sure how to say the word, but um, if no, no, just give me 1 second here. So what this site says that we could just use a string-based solution where we use the string class, convert the number to. So it says perhaps the easiest way of using the numbers, of getting the number of digits in an integer is what I was trying to say, the digits, is by converting it to a string and then calling the length method of the string class. So what we can do here is just do um, I wonder if we should go through with creating an array or not. First, we'll just do the string-based solution. So int length a digits, so amount of digits is equal to. I mean, I guess we should just be more accurate. I think amount is with two m's, right? Amount. Okay, no, it's just with one m. Just with one m. So just that amount digits, short for amount of digits. Anyways, type integer is equal to string dot value of number, which would be this dot hour dot length. But we need to cast it to a string. It's undefined for the type string. Method value int is undefined for the type string. So it's of, right? Okay, so it does take an integer, right? Like, no, it returns the string representation of an int argument. Okay, that's good. But I think we should go through a for loop and have an array. Let's see here. So int um, time is equal to new time size 3. And then this for every element in the times array. What's the problem here? Time can be resolved to a type. Whoops, my bad. Int, my bad. For every element in time, we're going to do int dot amount of digits is equal to just amount of digits, I guess, is equal to string dot value. No, like I hate when it does that. Time dot length. So we're basically gonna go through this for loop, and we're gonna get each element. Every time we're going through the for loop, we're looking at each element in each index. Well, basically, we're looking at. So we're basically looking every time we're going through this loop. We're going through the beginning of the indexes of the array, checking for the 0th array's value, and we're getting its length, the amount of digits that it has. And then what's going to happen is if amount digits is below 1, then what we're going to do is we're going to return if the amount of digits is, yeah, so if the amount of digits is below 1, technically we should store, I guess we could just, we don't, I mean, yeah, we're returning a string here, so it doesn't really matter. We can just convert it to a string. Um, yeah, we can just use another array, right? So, I don't know, string array formatted to time is equal to new string of size 3. Just put this for now, but so basically what we're going to do is, so yeah, instead we're going to use an array list. So I just converted the string array to an array list. And then we're going to use the array list, and we're going to add the amount digits to the array list, and it's not applicable for type int, so we'll just cast it to a string. So I wonder if this is how you cast it to a string, or is it with a capital S, right? Okay, it's string.toString, right? I think string. If I remember correctly, .toString, and then this converted to a string. Method to string and the type string is not applicable for arguments. Okay, so 1 second. We use the integer class to string method. Okay. All right. My bad. Sometimes I forget. Um, so we cast it to a string and we store it. We make sure we add 0. Right? Does that not work? Type is not applicable for arguments string. The method to string int. Oh, okay. That's annoying. So we have to convert it to a string first, right? And then we can pass it doing this. At least I think so. So convert it to a string and we store it as I to S. String I to S. And then we go here and add I to S. Make sure that we add. What the heck was that? And we make sure we add a leading 0. And then that should be fine. So, yeah. Integer.toString. To string, and then we use the string, and we concatenate it with a 0 string, a string representation of 0. And then we add that to the formatted time, and then else we just add the value if amount digits is else amount digits, so integer to string amount digits, and we add that to the array formatted to time dot add. So then we're also adding it, but without a leading 0 because there's more than 2 digits, right? And that's what we want. We're trying to check if there's only 1 digit, then we need to add a leading 0 because that's what they want us to format it as. We can look here on the website. It says with a leading 0. So yeah, we could even use the time class or whatever it was. That's part of date time class or whatever. That's part of Java, or I can't remember what it's called. I know in Python there's one also, and it makes it incredibly easy. I think I even wrote a program for that in Python. In like my very old videos, I was still using Python, but yeah. So we do that, and then once the toString method is finished, everything is wiped, right? So for every instance, we're creating a fresh new array and storing all the values, right? So then once that's done, then we can use formatted time and print out all of its contents, right? But then the issue comes to be, no, because it doesn't matter, right? The first one we're checking is the time at the hour, right? If it's has less than one digit, then we're appending it with an added zero, trailing zero, and we're converting it to a string. Otherwise, we're still adding it, but it's just being converted to a string, right? So yeah, everything's fine. And I even think that do we even need to do? We need to return a string. It doesn't matter. We need to return a string. So what we'll do is we'll just do um, formatted to time dot uh, how was it again? Like this, I think it's still the same thing as an array. I can't remember. Method formatted to time int is not defined. One second here. Yeah, so we would use the get method for getting the value in a certain index up here. So dot get. This is the one. So dot get and then formatted to time dot get one and then formatted to time dot get two and that's time. Zeroth index is the hour. First index is a minute, and the second index is the second. And we're just using a format specifier to grab those, and it's not a decimal or digit or whatever the D stands for integers. It's a string, so we're using %s. Yeah. So sum.out.println t2. So let's see let's see what happens when we run this. Okay, so it's not at all what it should be. I don't know why it's ones. Why is it ones? So clearly we're not entering a wrong value. Otherwise, the program would throw an exception and it would basically crash. And so we are setting the time. The issue comes when we're calling the toString method. So in the toString method, we have our array list called formatted time of type string, and we have an array of type integer called time, size 3. We have our for loop, and for every element in the time array, we int amount digits. So we have a new variable here of type integer is equal to string value of time dot length. So what we should do actually is this needs to be here, right? If the string dot value of time dot length is below 1. So we don't need this. We can get rid of that. Then we are to string. The time is being converted to string, right? time is of type integer. So there shouldn't be any issue here. The method toString int in the type integer is not applicable for arguments int array. No, it's I. My bad. We're appending I. We're converting I to a string and then storing it in the I to S. What does that stand for again? I should probably write that out. It's integer to string, so I'll just make sure I'll write that out. Integer to string. Integer to string. And here we are, otherwise we're just adding I. Converting I and then adding it. And here it's the same thing. We converted I to a string. So let me read this out again. So public toString method, so we're overriding the string class's toString method. We have an array list of type integer called formatted time. So this is where we're going to store the time that's formatted. And we have an integer of type, an array of type integer called time, initialized with the size 3, because that's all we need. For every element in time, so for every element in time, there's 3 elements, because that's the size of the array. Or should, yeah, I think if here we're basically converting, we're saying int, we're basically the value of int as a string, we're getting the length. If it's, so that's, we're basically here is where we're determining how many digits the value of time is, like hour or whatever. If it's below 1, then we're going to convert it to a string. This is just checking here as if it was a string, right? But it's not actually, like, here we're converting it and storing it into the integer to string. And then adding the string, the formatted integer to string. We're adding, and we're concatenating the string with another string, adding a leading 0. Otherwise, we're just adding the converted integer to string, right? So it doesn't matter, like, for every hour and minute and second, we're still adding them into their respective indexes, right? So 0th index should be hour, first index should be minute, and the second index should be second. We're just making sure that if there's only one digit, then we're adding a 0 and converting it to string, and then we're printing that out, right, to the console as a string, outputting it as a string to the console. So now now it should work. I could be wrong, but it should work this time. Okay, so it clearly doesn't work. Um, am I not? Am I not concatenating it? For every element in time, if the length is below 1, I am convert time Okay, but first we need to actually store the time, this dot time or whatever. Well, that is what it is. I is represents the value of the time, and so we would need to store them first, right? We need to first store the values, right? So no, yes, actually, we do need to store values. Um, so what we can do is you can just set those values. Um, this dot hour, this dot minute, this dot second. Make sure we have the square bracket there. So now it should work this time, right? Please. Yeah, so it does work this time. Okay, good. It's just I forgot to add the actual values into the array. So yeah, that was the issue. I mean, it works, but it doesn't work, right? Because if we look here, there's no leading zeros, right? So sorry. If what we can do is we can just see here, right? If the string value of time, which basically um, public static value of object returns the string representation of object argument. So I don't even think this is the right one. I don't even think that's the right method we're using. Okay, I see the issue. I used time instead of I. Um, so there we have it. That should fix the issue. Just me not paying attention again. And it doesn't fix the issue. It doesn't fix the issue at all. Okay, cool. Okay. Okay, so I just used the string um, print methods to quote unquote debug. If you really actually want to debug, you can use the debug um, program or whatever. You can run the debugging program or whatever, and you will actually debug and it will show in depth what's happening. But basically, another stupid little mistake on my part where um, I was checking if the value is below 1. That's there's no such thing, right? If it's below 1, it's 0. It just doesn't exist, right? So if it's equal to 1, the value, the length, or the digits are equal to 1, then we will add a leading 0, right? That should actually fix it, right? Yeah, so it does fix it. Okay, so my mistake, but now it should work. So it doesn't matter how many, doesn't matter what. So like if I create a new instance of my time called T3, my time 23, we can do like 0, we can do 3, we can do 1, we can do 5. It should add leading zeros. Whoops. How about print element T3? Yeah. So There we go. So it adds leading zeros. Okay, good. So that pretty much does it. We just have to test some of the methods, I guess, which is annoying, but whatever. Yeah, what we can do is we can come here and we can do system.out println t1 dot get hour t1 dot get it t1 dot get second and heck is this? The method in println int in the type not applicable for arguments int. Yeah, we don't even need this, do we? Get hour, get minutes, get second. So I could know what the heck is. Okay. Yeah. T1 hour. T1 minute. T1 second. Space there. T1 hour, T1 minute, T1 second. So we tested the getter methods. Let's go ahead and test the setter methods. Or actually, yeah, no. Let's test the previous methods. So T1 dot previous hour. Let's see what happens here. T1 minus previous hour. This is string. Yeah, so that's right. Um, T1 previous minute. New line here. Uh, previous minute. Previous minute. So if it's here, we remove a minute. So going back in time. Previous hour should actually remove more than that. So that we need to fix that. So previous hour If hour is equal to 0, we set this, and basically we're removing an hour, but technically if it's at 0, we're moving an hour, and it becomes, let's see here. Yeah, so if we remove an hour, it should actually be just set to 23 exactly. Right, it's 24 to 23, which 0, like 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds is technically 24 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds. Um, so yeah, this is right here. And we remove a minute. This is also right. Okay. Okay. Now what if we come here and we remove a second? T2 out printf print s t2 dot what time is t2 at? Okay, so previous second t2 previous second t2 dot previous t2 dot next second dot next second. So here we're going to do 2 next seconds. T2 next second times 2. Okay, so this is not. I see what the issue is. It's just this is a different. These are two separate times. Okay, so I guess not. Wait, what? What? Okay, this is not normal. All right. It doesn't go to the next line. You have to write that. So yeah, that's the issue. Okay. So what was printing out here was T2. Yeah. So no wonder. No wonder. Okay. Now I know why. I was wondering why it wasn't working. I was like, why? You know. Next second. Okay. All right. Okay. Good. It's working. Okay, but that's not. We're gonna have to do this on a new print statement. We'll do that here. T2 dot next second dot next second. T2 next second times 2 and new line. Well, actually, no. This is the print ln statement, so that's fine. So here, previous minute. This should be wait, previous second. This should be 29. 58. Previous second should be. Oh, this is previous minute. I don't know why I wrote previous second, but previous minute. But even then, it's not even working. So it's at 23, 59, 59. Right, for T2. If we remove a minute, it should be 23, 58, 59. The heck? So something's wrong with previous minute. If second is 0 and minute is 0, else, oh, I forgot. Else, uh, this dot minute minus. Okay, there we go. Now it's working. It's 23, 58, 59. Okay, that's totally fine. And we added 2 seconds, right? We add 2 seconds there. Wait. Yeah, that makes sense. We add 1 second, it becomes 59, and another second, it becomes 59:01. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Um, let's what's next here? Um, yeah. So we want to this time. I mean, we pretty much use virtually every one, but I still want to try something. 59, 59. Sum dot out dot print T3 dot next second and see what happens here. It should become 0. Yeah, so it's here and it's there. Okay, yeah. T3 time T3 time next second. Yeah, we'll just separate each of these like so. T1 time start. Um, T2 times start. T3 times start. I just want to clarify, like make that obvious. So the start time. Okay, so wrong place for the new lines. Here we want it. So T1 start, T1 hour, T1 minute, T1 second, T1 previous hour, T1 previous minute. Here we remove a minute, so that's fine. Yeah. Just want to add a space here, and then that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Done with this class. Thank everybody for watching. Thanks for being patient. Next episode, we're probably gonna do exercise 2.5. We'll see. See you in the next video.